that is the ultimate dependent origination. The highest understanding of dependent origination. And the point is that you go around this world thinking that life works in a certain way. You put money in the bank and you get rich. You work a job and you will get lots of money. You have to put it in the bank and get rich. You see the cause and effect going around you. Lord Buddha is trying to explain that the way in which you're seeing your reality is deceptive. It ain't working that way. You have collected certain karmic seeds within your mental continuum. Those seeds ripen, which creates the reality you are now experiencing. You have certain mental states which are creating future karmas. And that will dictate whether you suffer or you have a more pleasurable future. Let's see. Shades on Kappa chimes in with, if phenomenon function, they must be either have causes or don't have causes. And if they do have causes, the cause and the effect must be similar or dissimilar or both. The problem with the both thing is that all the problems with self-causations, they would arise endlessly. Causation from other would mean that they would have to simultaneously come into existence. They could not be causes for one another because they would have to simultaneously come into existence. And if they simultaneously came into existence, they would have to have inherent existence. It just doubles up when you say that phenomena are produced both by self, that potential in the seed, and from some other, like they often say, the soil. There's some schools in ancient India that said you can have all the potentials in the seed, but if you don't have the contributing factors, that sprout will never arise. And these logical rationales is just to start to point you in the direction of, where is my reality coming from? How is everything working around me? Because as Geshe used to always say, if working hard got you rich, then everybody who worked hard would get rich. If it was the direct cause for getting rich. That's a bit of an oversimplification, but it should make you start to think about how you're perceiving your reality. And causelessly is refuted right off the bat because they may negate certain production from self, other, but everything has a cause. Buddhism would say that if there was a Big Bang, you cannot say that Big Bang came from nothing before the Big Bang. There must have been something before the Big Bang. Everything is caused. Everything that is caused generally is subject to decay. Stuff that is not caused is non-existent and eternal. Kind of like a car. There are the various parts of a car. That car is a dependent arising, in the sense that you cannot pull out one portion of that car and say this is the car. Pull out the motor and call that. Some people may say that all those parts of that car are the car. That's how we know. In this production from self, other, both, neither, the point of it, as Geshe would say, and Rinpoche, the point is that without the mental image of that car, you will never know car or carness. The space inside the car, when you sit in the car, the lack is something non-existent and eternal. According to Master Nagarjuna, both these things in the ultimate analysis lack inherent existence. The space inside a car does not exist. The car itself is dependently originated and ultimately does not exist. But he just stopped short, but he says that they are mere appearances. They function. A mere appearance of me, the various parts of me, a dependent arising, seeing a car that is a mere dependent arising, illusory-like, is totally plausible according to Master Nagarjuna. Two things that don't really inherently exist, functioning. It's a little hard concept, but because your mind immediately wants to go to, my mind wants to go to, doesn't exist. Does it exist? If it exists, it must exist. Both the nihilism and the eternalism are causes for suffering. The perception, the conceptualization of that something doesn't exist or something inherently exists. Like I'm sitting in this room and I really do believe that there's a table there with an inherent existence. I see a table, but not only the table that I see, my eyes are taking little bits and pieces of wood colors and shapes. In my mind, there's a whole table there. There's even stuff I'm not seeing. There's a table under there. Like I really get table-ness. Same thing with you people here. I want to grasp that Vince went running through a house one day, punching out walls and stuff like that. Well, that's not like Vince. Vince isn't like that. Vince is always this way. Master Nagarjuna is arguing that the way in which you see everything in your life is just a mistaken, deceptive, ignorant view, and that causes the whole 12 links of dependent origination. That tendency to see things as self-existence causes all your problems. On the path that has been traveled, there is no moving. On the path that has not been traveled, there is no moving either. And in some other places besides the path that has been traveled and the path that has not, motions are not perceptible in any way. Okay, you're walking down a path. The place in which you have already, the part of the path you've already walked on, you're no longer walking on, therefore all motion is not there. Motion doesn't exist in that part of the path. The part of the path that you have not, this is actual physically walking a path he's mentioning here. It's not part of the Buddhist path he's talking about anything. He's just talking about walking down a road. The part in which you haven't traveled to hasn't even been traversed yet, so there's no motion there at all. He then says that the now that you think there is now is so transitory that you really can't point to a point in the road where you have not gone and where you are not going to. But then Master Nagarjuna and Tsongkhapa breaks down the actual foot, because people will say, this is just a past, this is a tense fallacy, that where you came from, you moved and you're just not now moving, and where you're going to, you will be a moving, so you're just using crazy talk. But Master Nagarjuna then argues, or Tsongkhapa argues with him and says, no. If you moved in the past, then you still should be a moving. If that's the case, all movement is in either past or the part of the road that you are going to. If there's going to be a motion there, or there was, then all movement would be in the future. And he says furtherly, where most of you people think that the movement you are moving is your foot going down the road. The front of your foot going down the road, that's where the movement is going on. And he says, but I can even take apart your foot. Where is the movement taking place? And he reduces the foot itself. The front of the foot going down, but the front of the foot has various tops and bottoms, and you can reduce it. If you really want to break down you and the ground, ultimately there is no inherently existent moving. This chapter was written for people that said, come on, you crazy Buddhists. Everything lacks inherent existence. But things come, they go, they move. People are walking by right now. There's a tree moving. There's stuff moving. If stuff's moving, then everything isn't empty. But they still have an understanding of the nihilist version of emptiness. They don't understand. And Master Nagarjuna will eventually argue with them that it's because things are empty that they can function. He turns the table on them. And he actually does it in a way that Lord Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, actually said things are empty and would let dependent origination describe how things function. Master Nagarjuna turns the tables on these people and says, if things were not empty, there'd be no way for a person who is a suffering being to becoming a Buddha if all phenomenon had this inherent existence, because that inherent existence would not change. If it can hold